These are dark times, there is no denying. Our world has perhaps faced no greater threat than it does today. But I say this to our citizenry. We, ever your servants, will continue to defend your liberty and repel the forces that seek to take it from you.
You're listening to the Steven Tauriello Show, building a platform of liberty for people in search of truth with a dash of hope and a life worth living. The Steven Tauriello Show. And now, here's Steven.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the show. As always, thank you for tuning in. So Democrats are projected to notch several key wins across Tuesday's elections, indicating both that abortion remains a motivating factor for voters and that the party can remain successful, including in red states, even in the face of President Joe Biden's poor approval ratings. A referendum to guarantee abortion access in Ohio was set to pass by hefty margins, and Democrats in Virginia were projected to flip control of the entire state legislature, as the party had loudly warned that unified GOP control in Richmond would result in a 15-week abortion ban. So they're continuing to use abortion as a voting issue, and it's working. It's working. These people, somebody had said something that stuck out to me. They said that the abortion issue for Democrats is like the gun issue for Republicans. It's just one of those things that motivates voters. And it's clear. So meanwhile, in Kentucky, Governor Andy Beshear, a Democrat, won a second term in a part of the country that was just 3 years ago handedly won by former President Donald Trump, dealing a setback to Daniel Cameron, a rising star and state attorney general who was Republicans' nominee in the race. So the backlash to Roe v. Wade doesn't seem to be going anywhere. Tuesday's election results made even more plain that in the wake of last year's Supreme Court decision scraping constitutional protections for abortion, voters are casting ballots in favor of abortion access when it's a prominent election issue. Without a doubt, the Democrats use abortion as a bludgeon in these elections. Any Democrat in our Congress could give a flying rip about abortion. They use it as a weapon to gain votes. No different than a Republican would use the Second Amendment to motivate Republican voters. So I get it. What if that isn't the reason Democrats won on Tuesday in these elections? I'm not going to say we got trounced in the elections, but it certainly wasn't good. We still hold Mississippi, just like the article said. But what if I told you it was much, much deeper? So I got an article here by Wayne Allen Root. And he says his brutal takedown of the GOP election disaster and what's happening to America. And he said, but please do not blame President Trump. I'm getting really sick of all the lies and desperation, not just by Democrats, but by assorted never-Trumpers, the rhinos, establishment GOP, and DeSantis backers. Not only the New York Times, but also the latest CNN polls show Trump winning big. He is dominating the GOP field and burying DeSantis and Joe Biden. Trump is winning everything. Everywhere, at least in polls that measure the opinions and votes of real American citizens. But do these polls take into account illegal alien voters? Of course not. No illegal alien voter would dare talk to pollsters. They stay low. They hide. They keep their heads down. They don't want anyone to catch onto this gigantic voting scam. And therein lies the problem. This is why we're losing elections. Among many other factors, I'll cover all the reasons in part 2 tomorrow. But first and foremost, the problem is open borders and illegal alien voting. But I know one thing for certain, Trump is not to blame. He's the one who warned us all about the open borders and the destruction of America way back in 2015, a lifetime ago. He was right. This is what's destroying the GOP. This is why we're losing elections. So take Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin. He's not my cup of tea. He's a little bit too centrist for me, which means he's a compromiser, always right down the middle. You know what's in the middle of the road? Roadkill. Center and moderate and compromise don't work when you're fighting a communist takeover of the USA. Backed by the D.C. swamp, Deep State, CIA, DOJ, FBI, 87,000 new IRS agents, all working for the Democrat Party. Homeland Security, CDC, FDA, WHO, Teachers Union, every educator and college professor in America, Hollywood, every movie and TV show, Silicon Valley, and the entire mainstream media. He's definitely right on all those. Throw in George Soros, Klaus Schwab and his World Economic Forum, Bill Gates, China, the Chinese Communist Party, and the Mexican drug cartels. They're all against Trump, MAGA, America First, American exceptionalism, capitalism. So poor Glenn Youngkin isn't the right guy for the job. But give him credit. He campaigned hard. He fought hard. He had good issues. Inflation, Biden's failing economy, failing schools. So why did he lose? Why did the GOP nationally suffer another losing election? This is about open borders. And he goes on to say, is everyone blind? Don't you notice millions of illegal aliens coming into America every year? For 3 years in a row. You don't think any of them are voting? Well, then I've got a bridge to sell you in Vegas. Over the ocean. They're being waved in by Biden and his boss, Obama, and then dumped all over the USA for one reason and one reason only, to turn America deep blue. Youngkin just won a smashing victory in Virginia and up and down the ticket only 2 years ago. Since then, Biden and his boss Obama have destroyed this country 3,000 ways from Tuesday. They've turned America into a third world crap hole, and we are a hot mess. So America is FUBAR. And in the face of all that, you think it's normal that only 2 years after a smashing victory in Virginia, those same Virginia voters decided to reward Biden and the Democrats? It's just not possible. What I believe happened is that in Virginia and every state in this country, millions of illegals have settled in and gotten licenses at the DMV and automatically registered to vote. Democrat activists and unions and Soros organizations show them how to do two things as soon as they get into America: collect welfare and register to vote. This is the whole point of open borders. It may take a few months or even a year for Democrats to get each wave of illegals registered and voting, but that means the ones who came in 2021, Biden's first year, started voting in time for the 2022 midterms. The ones who came in 2022, Biden's second year, started voting in this election. The ones arriving this year, Biden's third year, will be voting in the 2024 presidential election. That's it. Folks, I'm telling you, that's it. For the longest time, I was trying to figure out what is the motive of the Democrats having open borders like this. What is the motive of the Biden administration just allowing millions and millions of illegal immigrants in here? They know what they're doing is illegal. They know that the American people don't like it. They're rigging another election. This is how they're going to win the 2024 election. Now, I'll be honest, it is extremely hard to track this, to prove this. I did a lot of research today into this matter, and you can't find solid evidence of this happening. But what you can do is you can go through and you can look at how many states issue driver's licenses to illegal immigrants. Because why? Why is that important? Because you know, just like I do, that when you get a driver's license, you're automatically registered to vote in a lot of these states. And so I started looking up a few things. So here is an article from Ben Bergquam, and he has invasion footage from Tucson, Arizona. And he says nonstop shuttles full of illegal aliens from hotel to airport. So Ben Bergquam, host of Rav's Law and Border, was in Tucson, Arizona on Thursday morning showing a group of illegals gathered in front of a hotel. The illegals were gathered in front of the Best Western Hotel in Tucson near the airport, waiting for a van to pick them up. After a brief stay, these illegals will be flying to their destination, cities in the United States. Let that sink in for a moment. And here is a post from Ben Bergquam and a video of him at the Best Western Hotel in Tucson. Here, check this out.
¿De dónde son?
Guatemala.
Guatemala. ¿A dónde vas en Estados Unidos?
Para Houston.
Houston?
Colorado.
Colorado? ¿Y tú?
Florida.
Florida? Okay. ¿A dónde vas en Estados Unidos? Alabama, okay.
Hola.
Hola. ¿De dónde son? Where are you from? Haiti.
Yes.
Where are you going?
New York.
New York. New York, okay. Thank you.
This is wild, dude.
So just came from the airport, saw that van with the Hyatt Place tags on it. Followed it. Comes out here to the Best Western, and there is a massive line of people waiting to get on it. ¿De dónde son? Cuba. ¿A dónde? ¿Ah?
Venezuela.
Oh, Venezuela. ¿A dónde vas en Estados Unidos?
Houston.
Houston, okay. So loading up. ¿De dónde son?
Culiacán.
¿Ah?
Culiacán.
Okay, México. ¿A dónde vas en Estados Unidos? Navy. Tennessee, okay. ¿De dónde son? Guatemala. ¿A dónde vas en Estados Unidos?
Sur Carolina.
South Carolina, okay. ¿De dónde son? Ecuador. ¿A dónde vas en Estados Unidos? Alabama, okay. All right, there you go, guys. There you go. Best Western, Tucson. Just a stop on the journey to your neighborhood.
This is crazy, folks. This is wild. Now, one thing I did notice is that a large portion of everybody he asked was going to wear red states. And another thing I noticed in this video is every single one of them have an envelope, a yellow envelope with something in it. Obviously, they have papers. Well, what else do they have in there? Maybe money, card. All of these people are wearing brand new looking clothes. You would not be able to tell these people were just traveling through the thousands of miles to get to our southern border. These people look like they were just travelers going to their destination. But these were all illegal aliens. Now, maybe one of the things in those yellow envelopes is directions. So this is something that you hear that's pretty common when you're going through and doing research for, when you're doing research about the people that are coming into the United States illegally from all these other countries. I mean, you heard it, Ecuador, Mexico, Haiti, from all over the place. So we have millions of people from all over the world just waltzing into our country, and they're handed a yellow envelope. These people have travel luggage. Where are they getting this stuff? This is deep, folks. This is deep, and I never understood the motivation until now. Everybody knew in the back of our minds that Democrats have something planned for 2024. It's as sure as the earth rotates that the Democrats have something up their sleeve for the 2024 election. And now we know what it is. This is what it is. They are going to use the millions and millions of illegal immigrants that they've allowed into this country and have dispersed all throughout the country, mainly in red states, apparently, based off of just that 1-minute video. And they're going to use them to vote. Now, you might be saying, yeah, Steven, but illegals can't vote in elections, right? No. Nope, Democrats have changed that as well. So, I got an article here from The Hill, and this was put out in February of 2022. So, 16 states that allow undocumented migrants to obtain driver's licenses. So here are some key points, some bullet points here. The Massachusetts House is set to debate a bill that would make driver's licenses available to undocumented immigrants. While supporters say the measure would improve public health and safety, critics argue it would make committing identity fraud much easier. If the bill passes, Massachusetts will join 16 other states and the District of Columbia in issuing driver's licenses to undocumented immigrants. There is a reason why Democrats are allowing this to happen. Democrats, listen, for as much as we rag on them here every day, which we do, they're very smart and very cunning, as well as evil. These people think about one thing and one thing only, and that is how to gain power. That is it. Power, power, and more power. And I knew there was a motive behind having open borders like this. Because when you have an entire system like Mayorkas, Biden, all these people that are overseeing the destruction of our country by opening our southern borders and letting tens of millions of illegal immigrants into this country, they're doing it for a reason. I mean, you're talking about, 10 million? Maybe even 15 million by the time the election comes around? Even if they get a small fraction of those people to vote in the states that they're apparently going to. North Carolina, Tennessee, Florida, Alabama. They can easily sway election. You're talking about Republicans not only having to outvote the already cheating from the Democrats with their mass mail-in ballots, with all the election shenanigans that they did in 2020, but now we're going to have to outvote the illegal aliens, the millions of illegal aliens in here. Because like I said, in those yellow envelopes is two things: how to get federal welfare, how to get federal benefits, and how to vote, how to get driver's license. You cannot tell me that George Soros, Bill Gates, and all these Soros-funded organizations, these NGOs, all these nonprofit organizations that are funded by Democrats, by Act Blue, who has, I don't know, billions of dollars in its coffers to invest in I would probably say the largest voter registration campaign in U.S. history. And you don't think they have loopholes? These people have the ability to get these people registered to vote. There's no doubt about it. Why? Because every state law is different. There is no federal regulation about who gets issued driver's licenses or not. So you can very well go to one of these 16 states, get a driver's license, and as you get your driver's license, boom, you're registered to vote. And how do you keep track of all this? Like, how do you keep track of these people? What do you do? Like, I mean, when they go to get their license, is there like a database? Is there a database that tells the DMV, no, you cannot register to vote? I don't know. And it's impossible to find. I was looking into all this stuff. So the Massachusetts House is slated to debate a bill that would allow undocumented immigrants to obtain driver's licenses. Should that bill eventually become law, Massachusetts would join 16 other states. Yes, we already know that. Under the Massachusetts bill known as the Work and Family Mobility Act, driver's licenses would be available to undocumented immigrants if they are able to provide documentation like a foreign birth certificate, foreign passport, or evidence of current residency in the state. This is the type of stuff that the Soros-funded foundations are helping them with. You know, the Democrat-backed foundations are helping them get their foreign birth certificates. They're helping them with their foreign passports. They're probably helping them obtain evidence for their current residency, giving them, would that maybe explain why there was thousands, maybe tens of thousands of ballots with addresses that don't even exist, like parking lots, homeless shelters? Like, this is the type of stuff we've been learning the last 3 years since the 2020 election, is all the shenanigans, stuff that just don't make sense. So advocates have argued that the measure would improve public safety by increasing the number of insured drivers in the state and better public health by making public transportation less crowded. Sure. You know as well as I do, Democrats don't do anything that they don't benefit from themselves, that the party itself doesn't benefit from. You know that. I know that. Everything these people do is a plan for them to get more power. And they're, like I said, they're very smart, especially when you have billions and billions of dollars, essentially unlimited funds. There's all kinds of trickery, whether that's taking advantage of loopholes. There's all types of ways that you can get people registered to vote. See, in the Democrats' eyes, it's not count all legal votes. It's count all votes. So the name of their game is to just get ballots in the box any way necessary. We just seen this in Connecticut, where that Democrat was stuffing the ballot box with tons of ballots, and she got caught on camera. How do you stop this from happening? Like, what is the GOP doing to prevent something like this? I don't know. That's what I was looking into, and I can't find anything where the GOP is actually in these states or trying to prevent illegals from registering to vote. Because once they're registered, it's over. Because, the Democrat foundations, the Democrat Party as a whole, all they have to do is just track these people down. Track them down. Obviously, they have probably some way of tracking these people in those yellow envelopes that they're giving them. Tracking them down and saying, hey, have you registered to vote? Here you go. Don't forget about who let you in. That's what they're going to do, man. And I knew it. I knew there was a bigger reason for the Democrats to be supporting, just brazenly supporting open borders like this. Because they're even when I was a Democrat, we did not support open borders. Hell, Barack Obama talked about securing the border more than Donald Trump. Democrats always supported secure borders, but now they're starting to see how they can get votes because of what they've been doing to our elections the last decade, especially in 2020 with the pandemic. There are so many law changes that happened in the 2020 election as far as states changing their laws for mass mail-in balloting, signature verification, drop boxes. I mean, they ran roughshod over our election laws in these states. Mark Elias, Perkins Coie, all these Democrat lawyers and these Democrat law firms went to these states weeks and months before the election and changed election laws. I think what they were doing was preparing for this, for a Democrat administration to open the floodgates. And then once these people are in here, now all they have to do is just figure out how to get a ballot in their hands. And trust me, these people are evil enough. They'll figure out a way to do it. So here are the states that undocumented migrants in the U.S. may obtain a driver's license. It's California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, District of Columbia, Hawaii, Illinois, Maryland, Nevada, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, Oregon, Utah, Vermont, Virginia, Washington. I can't help but notice that all these are blue states. Solid blue states. It almost seems as if Democrats are taking lessons from Gavin Newsom over there in California. So I'm going to get back to this Wayne Allen Root story. So it says, so because Democrats brought in reinforcements and were surrounded like the Alamo, this is the great replacement strategy at work. The citizens are being surrounded and outvoted by illegal invaders. How do you think Democrats turned California from the land of Nixon, Reagan, and Pete Wilson to 100% Democrat state? They kept adding illegals until they outvoted California's legal citizens. Eventually, no Republican could ever again win a statewide race. And it's true. California is deep blue. Republicans will never, ever win that state. And look at it. Like Democrats, this is the problem I have. Like, I could see if California was this flourishing utopia of just peace and prosperity, the place is an absolute shithole. Like, it looks like a third world war zone in some of these places. People are fleeing by the droves. So now Biden and his boss Obama are using the California model on the whole nation. Democrats keep waving in hordes of illegals, then Democrats illegally register them to vote. And I like this analogy that he uses. We're being overrun like Custer's last stand. And until the GOP figures out how to stop this, we will keep being overrun by this invasion of illegal Democrat voters until America and the GOP is gone forever. I'm only just getting started. Tomorrow, I'll release part 2 of this brutally honest story and why the GOP keeps losing. There's much more to the story. Yeah, I think he's right. I truly do think he's right, and it would make sense how Virginia, because the abortion issue, there was the abortion issue in Virginia 2 years ago. I mean, yeah, granted, maybe Roe v. Wade maybe motivated voters a little bit more, but I don't think that much more. I mean, Youngkin won in a landslide just 2 years ago. Because that's when that was the situation in, I think, was it Loudoun County? In Loudoun County, where that girl was raped by that transgender, that dude that was pretending to be a girl and went into the girl's bathroom and raped a girl, and then the school covered it up. Not only did they cover it up, but they arrested the father when the father went absolutely berserk on the school. They arrested the father, and instead of admitting that the boy did what he did, they just denied it. They moved him to another school. And guess what? It happened again. And this is when it all dropped down. But this is, that was Youngkin won in a landslide that year. I mean, it was a trouncing. But then 2 years later, all of a sudden Republicans get trounced. I don't know, folks. I don't know. These illegal immigrants have to be going somewhere. I mean, we're talking about a whole state's worth of a population here. Where are they going? And you could see video after video after video especially from Steve Bannon's war room, and then all these investigative journalists down there at the southern border are saying they're loading them up on planes and sending them out all over the country. You heard Eric Adams in New York saying we cannot even take anymore. In fact, I think he's shipping them out. So you have these illegal immigrants going out all over the country. And now all Democrats have to do is figure out how to get them registered to vote. Once they're registered to vote, it's over. Because how can you verify if somebody's illegally registered to vote or not? Obviously, there's the voter registration, but that doesn't verify if somebody's legal to vote or not. And not to mention the plethora of problems we already have in the voter system, in the voter rolls. So this is their plan, folks. This is their plan. They're going to use the tens of millions of illegal aliens they let into this country as voters. And if this happens, the GOP, the Republican Party, will never, the Americans in general will not be able to outvote the illegal aliens. This is, I mean, even with the 22% increase in the black minority vote that Donald Trump has. You know, they used to say that if Republicans just got a 8 or 9%, a double digit, if Republicans got a double-digit percentage of the black minority vote, the Democrats would never win another election again. But Donald Trump had like 12, I think 10 or 12% of the black minority vote last election. Donald Trump had a big percentage of the black minority vote in 2020, and he still lost. Not by much, 42,000 votes in a few different states. But now Donald Trump's got 22%. Democrats know that if Donald Trump is on the ballot against a rematch against Joe Biden, he's going to win. And then so, you know, what I was thinking was like, yeah, but surely there's somebody on Mayorkas's team. There's somebody at DHS. There's somebody that would blow the whistle on this, right? Well, I don't know. Because you got to remember, the Manhattan Project, the government managed to build an atom bomb with only a handful of people knowing. I mean, it was a huge project, and somehow they did it all in secrecy. Nobody knew about this, and how they did it was by compartmentalizing all the workers. So they would never let the worker know, they would never give the workers the full picture of what they were doing. They would just issue orders. They would give them small jobs, like, here's your mission to build this sphere. But they never told them what the sphere was for. You know what I mean? And then right at the end, when they had everything put together, that's when everybody found out. So there's absolutely a way that they could orchestrate this on the inside and nobody actually know. Now, do I think Mayorkas knows? Yes. Do I think Joe Biden knows? Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, folks, I really don't know. I mean, Joe Biden knows that there's millions of illegal immigrants coming in here, but I don't think he knows why. I've been saying this forever. Joe Biden is like the old man that allows teenagers to party at his house and drink all his booze. And then the teenagers just make fun of him behind his back while drinking all his booze. Like, that's how I feel like Joe Biden is in the White House. Like, it's not Joe Biden running this country. It's somebody else. We all know that. You know that. I know that. And so I don't even think Joe Biden would know an operation like this was going. And even if he did, he's not going to do anything to stop it if it means it's going to help him win re-election. I think Barack Obama's behind all this. I think Mayorkas knows. I think the top members, the really, really leftist, the real dedicated communists, the people that hate this country, the Democrats that are just absolutely consumed by the ideology of leftism, I think they probably know. But as far as that, I mean, everyone else would probably just assume, like, we're just doing a good thing here. Like, we're just allowing all these people in. We're helping the world. We're helping the whole planet by just allowing immigrants to flood into the United States. We're opening our doors. We're opening our front door to anyone and everyone that wants to come in. We're doing the righteous thing, the virtuous thing. And now I could sleep better at night. This is the type of stuff, this is exactly how they think about it. They think they're doing a great thing while they accuse Republicans of being racists. But they don't understand. Like, they never fully understand the unintended consequences of their policies, of their ideas, only until it's too late. And this is exactly why Republicans and conservatives such as myself are wholeheartedly telling these people to close this down. This is going to cause generational damage. And Democrats see it as, I would say the more mindless Democrats, the drones, they probably they do it to be, virtuous, for righteous virtue. But the more smarter Democrats, they know that this means more votes for Democrats. Absolutely. There's not a doubt in my mind. The Democrats are the party of free stuff. The Democrats are the party of open borders. And what is the very first thing that they're doing when these illegal immigrants come over here? Just like Wayne Allen Root said, they're showing them how to apply for federal benefits and how to get driver's licenses. Once they get driver's licenses, we all know that you automatically get registered to vote. And in some states, it's probably, and you heard the 16 states that allow undocumented immigrants to get driver's licenses. It's 16 states. Granted, a lot of them are already blue states. But, the thing is all these people need is just these people to be registered to vote. It doesn't even have to be a ballot for that state. You know what I mean? As long as these people can vote and put a name on a ballot, they can ship those ballots wherever they want. You guys heard about the story, the USPS driver who had the truckload full of ballots? Well, that ended up being true. Like that investigation, the Inspector General for the United States Postal Service has released a report on that investigation and has come out and said those ballots were cross-state ballots. It was tons of ballots that came across state lines. So you're talking about as long as Democrats can get a ballot in these people's hands, can get a ballot into the hands of these illegal immigrants, all they got to do is just take that ballot to wherever it needs to go. This is why you're going to see late night drops, late night ballot dumps at 2 a.m. that have 1 million votes for Joe Biden and 0 for Donald Trump. Like, I think we're going to see the same shenanigans we did in 2020. And, I don't know where the GOP is on this. I really don't. And I think we're a year up to the election. I think they're doing this. They know that we're going to catch on, but are we going to catch on soon enough to figure out their operation? We need to figure out the operation. How are they doing this? That is the key. So I went to ballotpedia.com. This is something pretty interesting. So here are the laws permitting non-citizens to vote in the United States. So federal law states that it is unlawful for a non-citizen to vote in federal elections and establishes the punishment of a fine, 1 year in prison, or both for violation of the law. The Illegal Immigration Reform and Immigrant Responsibility Act of 1996 states the following. It says it shall be unlawful for any alien to vote in any election held solely or in part for the purpose of electing a candidate for the office of president, vice president, presidential elector, member of the Senate, member of the House of Representatives, delegate from the District of Columbia, or resident commissioner, unless the election is held partly for some other purpose. Aliens are authorized to vote for such other purpose under a state constitution or statute or a local ordinance, like what these states are doing. These 16 states are changing. They're changing their state statute to allow undocumented immigrants to vote. So the District of Columbia did it. The District of Columbia, Washington, D.C., is allowing undocumented immigrants to vote in their local elections. That's what's happening. So I don't know what we're going to do. I'm going to look more into this and see into what the GOP is doing to stop this. Now, what I've gathered, the GOP and the Trump campaign has hundreds of attorneys all throughout the country that are essentially doing the work of Mark Elias. That was the thing we were lacking in 2020. We need a Mark Elias. The Democrats have Mark Elias, Perkins Coie, going out all over the country. This guy's an evil genius when it comes to law. And so the Republicans need a Mark Elias. We don't have one. But we do. I would say probably Harmeet Dillon's probably the closest thing we got to Mark Elias. Obviously, the opposite, the complete opposite as far as being evil. But I think probably having hundreds of attorneys all throughout the country getting to the bottom of this. And then you have groups like Turning Point Action. They're out there doing tons and tons of work. You have a lot of Republican nonprofits doing a whole lot of election work out there because the American people want a rematch. Like, I think with Donald Trump as high as he is in the polls, if you trust the polls, I seem to think like, I think they purposely inflated those polls to get Joe Biden to drop out of the race. That's what I personally, I'm kind of leaning more towards that. I'm not saying that Donald Trump's not as high because it's all the polls. It's not just the CNN and the Washington Post poll. It's all the polls. Donald Trump is crushing Joe Biden in these swing states, all around, across all demographics. But I seem to think like they're trying to push Joe Biden out. So I'm going to look more into this issue. I want to find out what's going on. And, you know, the GOP certainly has has hundreds of attorneys all across the country and that are working on these things. The nonprofit organizations, like I said, like Turning Point Action and all these nonprofit organizations that are trying to get ahead of what the Democrats are going to do in 2024. But I don't think anybody is preparing for this. This is why I made a show about this. We need to get the word out there. Somehow, some way, the GOP needs to get in front of this and make sure that Democrats are not registering illegal aliens to vote in these states. Period. I don't care, blue state, red state. If these illegal aliens are allowed to fill out a ballot, then Democrats will just ship those ballots wherever they're needed. This is where the 2,000 Mules comes in, where they go to the warehouse, whatever they call it. They pick up the ballots they need, and they're directed to go to certain drop boxes strategically. And we need to make sure that we get ahead of whatever plan this is, because once a ballot's filled out, you know, that, like I said, the name of their game is just ballots in boxes. That is it. Once they got the ballot, that's all they need, and then they can drop them wherever they want. Very cunning stuff. You're talking about the smartest, most evil people in the world behind this charade, because Donald Trump is their biggest threat. And, you know, not because of some democracy. Oh, Donald Trump's a threat to democracy. That's just the talking point they give their minions. Donald Trump is a threat to their establishment. You know, this incredibly profitable, effective, very rich, wealthy machine that they have created for themselves. They're not just going to hand over the keys back to the American people. They have their club, and you're not invited. And trust me, they're not going to let go of their club without a fight. And so you're talking about rich billionaires, rich evil billionaires across the world, all aligned to prevent Donald Trump from winning the 2024 election. So we need to make sure we look out for tactics like this in getting illegal aliens to vote. It is the only thing that makes sense, folks. You always have to ask yourself, cui bono? Who benefits? Who benefits by having an open border? The Democrats. Period. I mean, you could say rhino establishment Republicans that just want cheap labor. No, this is something much more sinister going on here because they're doing it so brazenly. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm going to look into that. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy if this is what the Democrats have planned for 2024. And I'm going to make sure I try and figure out if the GOP is taking care of this. I'm sure they are. I'm almost positive they've had to have thought of this. If Wayne Allen Root caught on to this, then I assure you the GOP, the lawyers, the hundreds of lawyers on Trump's campaign, they're probably ahead of this too. So I'm not going to sit here and say it's time to panic. I don't think it's something that they would be able to get away with somebody not blowing the whistle. I'm talking about Donald Trump's lawyers. If they seen something like this happening, I guarantee you this would be nationwide news. But I don't know. I think Wayne Allen Root may be on to something here. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, that's all for today. I'll be putting out another segment on Saturday. We got a whole lot of stuff to talk about, so I will talk to you guys then. I want you guys to have a good day. Have a good Friday, TGIF. And most of all, have a great weekend. Get some rest on Sunday, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow. You guys have a good week. God bless you, and God bless America. You guys have a good day. Bye-bye.